Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years.
So get ready! I mean, get ready! Are you ready for some football?
You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. A weekly podcast about sports since 2011. With a focus on football. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. I am one of your hosts, Joe Mays. Here with me, as always, is my co-host, Justin Raffoff.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
And joining us this evening for, maybe third or fourth time, I think, is my daughter, Natalie.
Hi.
You're going to have to speak a little bit louder. Try it again.
Hi.
There we
There
go.
we
Now
go.
we got it. Now we got it. All right. So Natalie is here this evening because, we had pushed off her appearance by 2 weeks. We were going to do it to recap the Super Bowl, but because it was the Eagles who won, we thought it wouldn't do you justice to come on while Uncle Justin was celebrating.
I probably would have just answered, is it the 2025 Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles? To every question.
And then last week, Justin and I did the Bulldog Hour. We kicked off season 11 and the start of our 10th anniversary year since we started that show in the summer of 2015. We had a special guest.
Isn't it the 11th anniversary?
I hate you so much. We had special guest Matt Ginter on, which was great to talk to Matt. We could have talked to Matt probably for at least another half an hour
Yeah.
about his time in professional athletics as a triathlete. We didn't even dive into his time as an aerospace engineer. So there are a lot of things we could have covered with Matt on the Bulldog Hour last week, but we appreciate him stopping by for a little over an hour to kick off our 11th season here at the Bulldog Hour. But back here in the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show realm, we are going to revisit football trivia. I think it was just over a year ago that we did this the first time.
Because I got my trivia book for my birthday.
Yeah, and then a few weeks later, we invited you on the show. I think Justin and I do pretty good at football trivia. And I said today while we were eating lunch, prepping to go to the collectibles and card store, I said, if you don't want to embarrass Justin and me, you should stick to stuff from like the 80s and onward, because the farther into the past you go.
What if I do want to embarrass you?
Well, I figured that would probably be part of this, but
I said I'll do an even mix.
so we're going to start trivia here with the book that Natalie got for her birthday a year plus ago. There's still some in there that we didn't cover last time, but then I did get a new book of football trivia that I have refused to look through, waiting for this show.
I took it home last week and started
Did
memorizing
you?
pages.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
so.
Well, that'll serve us both well, because as I let Justin know before the show started here, we're coming at this as a team. So Justin and I are one mind, trying to dismiss Natalie's questions and answer everything correctly. So it's Natalie versus the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show on football trivia. So Natalie, where do you want to start?
So in my book, there's kind of 4 sections.
Okay.
Actually, no, 5. Never mind. Champions, personalities, record breakers, super scorers, and yardage kings.
All right.
So it really depends where you want to start there.
I don't want to pick. I don't want to throw our. I don't want us to pick. I want you to pick.
Yeah, you pick.
Yeah, I want you to
All right.
always throw it at us.
I'm going to go to the end of the book because I feel like that's probably not what we covered last time. So I'm going to go to like the very.
Yeah, I think
very
you
end.
started at the beginning and worked your way through. So I would aim towards the back of that first book, and it's the Sports Illustrated Kids Big Book of Who Football, with a bunch of trivia. So Justin, I if I recall, we did pretty good
I feel like
last
we
time.
did all right.
Yeah.
I feel like we did all right.
You did pretty well.
All right, so what's the first question? And if you're watching us, listening to us live, we got the chat up. Nana already says hi, Natalie. If you would like to participate, or if Justin and I are stumped and you think you have the answer, throw it in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out if you get it right before we do. All right, Natalie. So what's the first question?
All right, so I just want to say that this was published in 2022, so maybe
Okay, so it's a few years behind.
so
now.
maybe some of the stuff might not be accurate, but this is as of 2022.
Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know. So it wouldn't have that Saquon Barkley's 2024 football season was one of the best ever for a running back.
No.
Is what you're saying?
It would not have
Okay.
that. So I'm going to start with yardage kings. And
Okay.
your first question is
Okay, here we go.
who led the NFL in rushing yards in 2021?
Okay, rushing yards. So recent, we should know this.
Right.
2021 rushing yards.
This is going to have more like older stuff. This is going to have like recent
I
stuff.
feel so. My first thought is possibly Derrick Henry.
That was my first.
That's my first thought.
Yes, I should say
The
my first.
the
thought.
other one that comes to mind, and this is me remembering fantasy football, is I think that Dalvin Cook was still pretty strong at that point.
Yes.
That would probably have been his last really good year.
Right. I also feel like Dalvin Cook, even in his best years, I feel like he missed some time.
He did.
And so, like, I think he had ridiculous numbers, but he also was missing some games, which can make it hard to be.
Yeah, to be the number one
Right.
rushing leader. And if this was a year that McCaffrey was fully healthy, it could be. But I feel like he also adds so much from receiving in
I feel like-
fantasy
I'm
that
not sure he had a fully healthy year for the Panthers, though.
Yeah.
And when did he go?
he was traded to
2022
the
was the year he got
49ers.
traded, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2022 was.
Right,
This is
right.
2021, so
Right,
he
so
would have been
I-
with the Panthers.
I know that it could be someone other than Derrick Henry, but I don't know who I'm going to pick
Okay,
over
so
Derrick Henry.
Natalie, we're gonna give you an answer, but if it's wrong, I don't want you to
Say
tell.
the answer.
I don't. Right, you can
How,
say that's
how many
incorrect.
chances do you get? Infinite?
No, I feel like two. We should go
Two?
after
Two
two.
shots?
We should be done.
Right.
Okay.
If I'm between like three, I would tell you. I'd be like, oh, don't tell us after this second one. I like
Yeah.
because if sometime I don't know that that'll happen, but if there's one, if I'm like, oh, it's these two. Oh no, it's not. Then I know who it is, but I don't
Yeah.
think that'll be. The
Well,
case.
I'm quickly running through my head of like who else could it possibly even be outside of the ones we mentioned. I don't think Aaron Jones for the Packers ever had a ton of
Not with Aaron
yards.
Rodgers there.
Like, and the Seahawks didn't have anyone. Even like I don't think the Rams had someone that would have been, or the Cardinals. The Chiefs aren't that big of a rushing team to have the leader.
Right. And they also give the ball to like 8 different guys,
Right.
even when they do have guys.
and the Broncos, the Raiders. I feel like it. Derrick
yeah.
Henry is the first one that
yeah,
comes
that's
to
gonna
mind.
be my guess.
All right, so our final answer for this first question is running back Derrick Henry, who would have been with the Tennessee Titans at this time.
That is incorrect.
No. All right, did we say his name in
I
discussions?
I did not hear his name.
Ooh,
That-
okay,
that
so
makes it a
that
lot
throws it
harder.
off. So I don't think it's Najee Harris.
No.
Maybe I just missed it though. I don't know if you
Okay.
said his name.
I don't think it's Joe Mixon.
No. Because he was splitting carries there.
Right.
too. I mean, I know they all.
I
split
can
carries.
I can say the question again if you.
I don't think I need to know the question. The question is, it wouldn't have been.
So let's see. I don't know who it would have been from the AFC East.
Well,
Right.
that's what I mean. Like,
right. So NFC East. I don't think Saquon ever won a rushing title.
no. What? It
Could-
wasn't.
I don't think it was Miles Sanders. I don't think Miles Sanders won a rushing title.
No.
Um,
And it wasn't. It wasn't Zeke at that time.
right. And Tony Pollard, while good,
Well,
they
he
were
also-
never giving him the ball.
Well, he wasn't. Wasn't he still splitting time with Zeke at that point too?
I believe so.
So, and no one from Washington.
No.
So
All right. So NFC's out, and
so-
then there's NFC East.
So-
in the South,
Panthers would have been McCaffrey, but like I said, I think like injuries and they haven't been super good.
Right.
He might have been like all purpose, all like
Falcon.
total yardage.
What?
Who was there before Bijan though?
Who? See, who was it that went to be the running back at Tampa with Tom Brady when Tom Brady was there? Was that the year they won with Brady?
They won. No, 2020 is when they won.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna say that if you need a hint, I do have a good hint.
Well, the giveaway hint would be what team it was, because I feel like if you tell us the team, we would get.
No,
who it
that's
was.
not the hint.
Okay, well, what's your hint?
He was a rookie in 2020.
Oh.
A rookie in 2020.
That's what this says.
Well, so rookie 2020 is the Burrow Hurts Tua quarterback class.
Right.
So who are the rookie running backs then? Oh, so it wasn't Cook.
That is a good hint, but man, that still makes it hard.
Yeah, that is it's a good hint, but it doesn't help me.
Did
Rookie running backs in 2020. Like it wasn't like that wasn't J.K. Dobbins or.
See, he never had a full season.
Right, he
like
got
when they made him the number one guy,
he was already injured.
He got hurt.
Yeah, he was injured
I'm trying
and
to
then
think,
got
was
injured.
that one of the years? It wouldn't have been. That was already the mess in Houston, right? That wasn't one of the years they had someone go off.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay, give us the team because this is getting embarrassing.
Team Colts.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor.
Correct.
Oh, we didn't even. We should have
No,
kept
we
going
never
through the
mentioned
teams.
him. You were right, we never mentioned him.
We should have gone
We
through
missed
the
him.
teams.
Yep.
We completely missed him, and I've had him in fantasy ever since.
Right,
I
I
literally
know.
drafted him. Oh man,
That was a good one though.
That was a
good
bummer.
one.
We should have known that one.
We should have gotten
We're
that
0 for
one.
1, and that was the one we should have
Right.
gotten.
Yeah, we missed the fastball down the middle.
Yeah, that's an embarrassing. Okay, we're an 0-1 count right now. That's not good. I don't want to strike you out.
Okay. Who has the record for most passing yards by a rookie?
In a game, in a season.
It just says that. I'm pretty
I'm
sure,
guessing
like
it means in a season.
As a rookie.
in a,
yeah, because
in a season.
So this
So-
is one that would have changed this year.
And so this is
Yeah, but
through
this
the
is as of-
2022 season.
Right.
This is
I
as of
believe.
2022. This was published in 2022.
And actually, maybe
Wait, if this was published in 2022, it's probably only through 2021.
It was published in 2022.
Okay.
okay.
So 2021 and earlier. Honestly, is it Justin Herbert? Because he had a bigger rookie year than Joe Burrow did.
Okay.
So if you're thinking if it's recent, I would say Justin Herbert.
I feel like it has to be recent. I know some of those guys put up massive numbers, but I don't think it happened in the rookie year. I don't know. They passed all the time with Peyton his rookie year. I know that because he threw so many picks, and they
Right,
always
he
talk
threw
about
a
that.
ton of picks.
But like they stuck with him, and he worked through it and everything. But like I don't know that he had more yards than those guys.
Honestly, I'm fairly confident it's
Okay.
Justin Herbert.
I'll go with that.
Final answer: Justin Herbert, Chargers.
Incorrect.
No. How about give us? Did it happen?
Does it say what year it was? Don't tell us what year, but does it say what year?
2012.
Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
If this is two Colts answers back to back. I mean, that's also Robert Griffin, but Griffin didn't throw more
No.
yardage than Luck did.
No.
Should we go with
Yeah.
Andrew Luck?
Correct.
All right.
I
so
did that. I did that to throw you off the scent with two Colts questions in a
Yeah.
row.
Good. If there were Colts listeners right now, they would.
They
not
would be.
pleased.
They're really mad. Yeah, they're really mad.
0-2.
Okay.
0-2.
I'm
I
gonna.
feel like that was a harder question in the sense of because so many of those rookie quarterbacks since then have had huge years.
Right, and that has been rewritten. Jaden Daniels didn't he
did
break it?
this year, yeah. But also, I think, and I don't know that he beat that record, but Bo Nix's numbers were really high this year too. When you look at it, for the course of a season.
So Herbert threw for 4,336 yards his rookie year. I want to see what Andrew Luck. Does it say how many Andrew Luck threw for?
Oh,
That's okay. I can
already
look it up.
changed the page.
It's all right.
So.
That's all right. I can look it up. I'm just curious as to how much he threw for that year. Where is it? Okay, now I wonder when that book is through because this says Luck broke the record for most passing yards in a season by a rookie throwing 205 to bring his season total to 4,183, which is less than Justin Herbert's rookie season. Can I see the book for a second?
Yeah, you can read it off there.
I'm not saying that, like, I'm just wondering when the book is through because it's going to change how we attack this. So it says copyright 2022. Okay, I don't know what to say about that. Because that was 2020. It should definitely be updated in there.
Right.
So, but all right, we'll move on. What's the next one?
So I'm gonna do one more yardage. I'm gonna do one more yardage kings, and then I'll change
Well, don't do it on the same page as Andrew Luck.
I am
just
not.
saw it.
I'm not. I changed pages.
Okay.
Who has the most career receiving yards for a tight end?
I was gonna immediately jump to Tony Gonzalez.
I think it is.
But did
Gonzalez.
Antonio Gates pass him?
I don't think so. Maybe. Well, I feel like Gates might have passed him in some of the categories, but I don't think he necessarily passed him in the yardage. I don't know. Man, Gates was a machine those early years.
Right. Okay, so this, just to finish the Andrew Luck thing, I was looking it up through Wikipedia, not a stats site, so it might not have been updated for all the games. Andrew Luck finished his 2012 season with 4,374. Justin Herbert's was 4,336.
Okay.
So
okay.
he was, 38 yards shy, Herbert was. Stroud, 4,108. Cam Newton, 4,051. I don't
you should
see.
note that. You should go back and
So Jane Daniels only threw for 3,500 this year.
Right, but it's that and the number of touchdowns and stuff. I think that he set records for.
All right, sorry. So hit us with the question again.
Yeah, you're good.
Who has the most career receiving yards for a tight end?
I still lean. So I think, did Kelsey pass him though? Like recently?
I don't know that he passed him for the career. I know he passed some people for playoff stuff and and maybe touchdowns. Was that me?
I have no idea.
I have no idea what just happened.
That was not me.
Something
It's
fell.
always me, Natalie. So I don't worry about it.
All right.
But yeah, I feel like he passed him maybe for touchdowns and stuff like that. But I don't.
To me,
maybe even yards. But either way, that's not gonna matter.
I feel like it has to be one of Tony Gonzalez.
Yep.
Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski, or Travis Kelce.
See,
I don't think it's Gronk because he had injuries and he retired somewhat
touchdowns,
early. Touchdowns, yes.
Throw Gronk in there.
But yardage, probably not. Yardage receptions, I don't think Gronk had.
What about missed tackles versus the Dolphins? That would be...
That's right. He leads the league in that. I guess my initial thought is to go with Gonzalez.
I agree. Because I feel like he was just... Even though those other guys are there, I feel like Gonzalez is still...
He's top 2 or 3 in every tight end category, I think.
Right. He's still... You could argue that he's the greatest tight end. You could argue for all those guys, I guess.
I think all 4 of them, yeah. Well, Gates is going into the Hall of Fame this year, I believe. So Justin and I are going to say Hall of Fame tight end Tony Gonzalez, who played for the Chiefs and Falcons.
Correct.
Yeah, got one.
Finally got one on the first try. All right. So we are... sadly, we are one for 3. Getting it on the first answer. We got the second question, but we didn't get it on the first answer. I really thought, for some reason, I had thought Justin Herbert had broken that record, but just a little bit short. So
you just love you some Jim Harbaugh guys. So this annoyed me. Just a quick sidetrack. They were talking today on sports radio, which I know you love.
Yeah,
about
sports radio is great.
They were talking to the Chiefs GM, which was cool. Like hearing him just kind of talk about. And then they were saying how like you look around that division and they mentioned they're like the hosts were like there's now like all 4 coaches have won Super Bowls in that division, and I was like, is that
Wait, in which division?
in
AFC West?
in the NFC West?
Or NFC
Sorry,
West.
AFC West. AFC West.
Well, Reed, Carroll,
And Peyton,
and
But-
Sean Payton, but yet Jim
not Harbaugh, right?
Jim Harbaugh didn't win.
Correct.
John beat him.
Correct. And I was like, I was not happy at this because
Did anyone correct them?
No, and it wasn't the point. It was just like, you look around, like there's some coach. They were talking in the story about, I guess when Pete Carroll retired, he texted Andy Reid and was like, "Hey, good luck, buddy. You're now the oldest coach in the NFL." And they were just joking. They wondered if Andy texted him back and be like, "Hey, thanks. I'm no longer the oldest coach in the NFL," because he came back. But like,
Okay, so we one right, one with our second guess, and one we
just wrong.
we
whiffed.
We whiffed. We shouldn't have. We should have known that one. That one's. I wish I could take that one back. So okay, what's question number 4 then?
All right, question number 4 is now out of yardage. It is now, sorry, of super scorers is the
Okay,
category.
Jerry
and
Rice.
If that was right, I was gonna be
Before
surprised.
she even reads it. All right, go ahead.
Who has the most career touchdowns on fumble returns?
oh my gosh.
Fumble
Oh
returns.
man.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's the homer. The homer in me wants to say Jason Taylor.
Well, so that was one of the things. Like, I'm like, do we pick like a defensive lineman because like sack fumbles in the end zone, or even near the end zone sometimes are easy. Is it a linebacker, or is it like a DB? Like, I don't even know where to go.
Yeah, because I know Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas both had a bunch of touchdowns. I don't know how many were interceptions, how many were fumble recovers. It could be one of the big linebackers like Derek Brooks, Brian Urquhart, Erlacher, Ray Lewis.
I feel like this number doesn't necessarily have to be that high.
Could you tell us how many?
How many?
How many
Does
they
it say
returned
how
for
many?
a touchdown?
Hold on, let me. I think it says that it was 9.
9 fumble recoveries for a touchdown? Oh, that's a lot. Wow.
Oh wait. No, sorry,
No?
I read that wrong. It's 2.
Okay, that sounds too little. I feel like there's got to be something in between here. Too few to 2. 9 sounds like an astronomical number. 2 sounds too small, though. I thought it was going to be like 5 or something like
Yeah,
that.
I feel like 5 would be a really good.
Like 4
Oh,
to
the 9 was forced fumbles.
9 forced fumbles. But you said return for a
Two
touchdown.
interception returns. 9 forced fumbles, 2 interception returns.
To me, that sounds like Jason Taylor.
Could be.
But it doesn't say how many fumble returns they had.
I thought that's what you asked me.
That is what I asked you. I'm looking.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Jason Taylor.
All right.
Let's see what
Jason
happens.
Taylor, Miami Dolphins.
Correct.
Yes!
Oh man!
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Take that, Dad. I asked if he was watching, and he said, "Yeah, I'm watching because my granddaughter's on, and she's kicking your butt with the questions." Look at that. Yeah. Go ahead, hand me that book for a sec.
Is he going to comment something?
No, I'm just gonna show it. Look at that.
Oh, he'll probably definitely text your dad.
So it
Yeah.
says, the book says, throughout his 15-year NFL career, Jason Taylor was known as a disruptive force who consistently made game-changing plays on the defensive side of the ball. Taylor's best season was 2006 when he was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year as a defensive end for the Miami Dolphins. Not only did he set a career high with 9 forced fumbles, but he tied for the NFL lead with 2 touchdowns on interception returns. So, super stat, 9. Okay, so that's the number of defensive touchdowns he scored.
Right. They were just giving information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
So that makes me wonder, how many did he have? Like, how many career fumble returns for touchdowns?
all right, that was a good one. So I feel like there's some redemption there. I feel like that was a good one for us. So we've got two we nailed, another one we got on the second try, and then one we whiffed on that we should have. If we had gotten the
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor one like we should have, we'd be sitting okay right now.
Yeah. And so here we go. You were pretty darn close with your number of what you thought the record should be.
5.
It's 6.
Is it 6?
Yep.
Okay. Is it him?
Yeah.
Is it him?
Yeah. No, it's
okay.
him. Yep.
All right, Natalie, what's next?
I'm gonna do one more from this book,
Okay.
and it's going to be in the champions category.
Okay.
2025 Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm sure my dad
I was gonna say, I'm
has
sure he'll
nothing to
love
say
that.
about that at all.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Who is the only Giants player to win 2 Super Bowl MVP awards?
I know this.
Well, it's Eli, isn't it? Didn't he win both? Is that not who you were gonna say?
No, I think it is him. I think he did. I think he did win both. Yeah.
I think it's Eli Manning.
I agree.
Eli Manning.
Correct.
Okay.
I was starting to doubt myself.
Well,
'cause, but, like,
my initial thought was Giants player MVP that was going to be like Lawrence Taylor.
Well, my immediate thought was, did David Tyree steal it? But I was
Oh,
like, no,
no.
he won it for those 2.
Okay. All right. So we're 3-1-1.
Yeah,
3 on the first guess, 1 on the second guess,
that's
one
pretty good.
one
That's pretty
we
good.
didn't get, and
And we're changing books now.
all right. New book.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I don't know how up to
This
date
one
this
has-
is, but
No idea, but I think it has some older questions.
Oh, good.
well, you
great, great, wonderful.
just start at the beginning, start paging your way through. I mean, you can just go one by one because if you go in order,
I'm gonna go.
Hey.
I'm gonna do.
if you,
How many categories?
Hey, if you go in order, you can come back on and we can just pick up where we left off. If you start jumping around, you're never gonna remember what you
Who
did
reads
and
a book
didn't
from
answer.
front to back?
And left
but,
to right.
But there,
Are you someone
but
that
we
reads
might
the last
not
chapter
get.
and then
We
jumps
might
to the
not
front?
get all the chapters then because there's 7 chapters. Is 7.
Okay, how about you do
different-
one page from
It's
each
like-
selection?
Okay.
It's like watching the best Star Wars movie, which is the 8th one, and then jumping around and watching the others.
And this one doesn't have the.
I no
answers
longer want to be on
immediately.
his team. Protest.
Denied.
I appreciate that.
Formal protest. Denied.
Informal protest.
Denied.
Come on, book girl, let's go.
Who are the only 2 Heisman Trophy winners
Oh man.
who were not selected in the NFL draft since 1967?
Okay, so modern NFL. That's when the merger happened. AFL NFL merger was 67 onwards.
I'm glad. That was actually, I was like, oh, maybe it was the, like, when, Army
and-
had the 4 horsemen kind of thing.
It says who are the only 2 Heisman Trophy winners. So I will accept
Okay.
one of the people.
So you want
Oh,
us
if we
just to
get
get
one.
one of them?
Yeah, just one of them.
So my initial.
In my head, she looked at the answer and was like, they're not getting this.
Well, I wonder. I've never heard of these people. How would they have heard of these people? We will. I guarantee we will 100% have heard of these people. Whether
Okay.
we can pull the names out of our hats, I'm not sure that's
Did-
going to happen.
Okay, I immediately jumped to
Eric Crouch.
Eric Crouch
Jason
and Jason
White.
White. Jason White was my number 1, and Eric Crouch was my number 2. Like,
See, for some reason,
But
I feel
I
like
thought Eric
Jason
Crouch-
White did get drafted.
see, and I thought Eric Crouch got drafted. I thought Eric Crouch got drafted, and they tried him at, like, DB or something like that. Like,
At-
one of those NFC North teams or
At
something.
one time, I could name like the last 15 or 20 Heisman Trophy winners. That stopped probably about 2010.
Well,
I
just
want to
name
say.
good quarterbacks in college.
Essentially, yeah. But even like the years that it wasn't a quarterback that was a running back, they like Rashawn Salam was
Well,
drafted.
the only reason I know Rashawn Salam is because he stole it from Kajana Carter.
Kajana Carter, right? Tim Biakabatuka. I don't even know if he won the Heisman. I just remember that name.
Right, yeah. I'm pretty sure he played in the Snow Bowl against Penn State.
Did he?
I was at that one. I feel like I remember them saying that name over and over again on the loudspeaker.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. So like Danny Werfel, he was drafted.
Yeah, technically, he had been drafted in baseball before. Oh no, I'm thinking Chris Winkie.
Chris Winkie was drafted by the Panthers, I believe.
Yeah.
Danny Werfel was out of Florida.
I
still feel like
Jason
Eric
White-
Crouch and Jason White are the way to go.
Yeah.
Because she said she only wants us to get one.
Well, should we try one? Well, the other one would be our other guest, though.
Right, because I can't think of anyone.
Right.
And I will have heard of this person, but you go back before like the mid '90s, I couldn't tell you.
When you start getting into the '70s in terms of Heisman winners, I'm not super strong there. Like most of the '80s.
Roger
Heisman
Staubach. I know he was drafted. That's not a guess.
yeah.
I feel like we have to go. University of Nebraska's Eric Crouch and University of Oklahoma's Jason White, both quarterbacks.
You got one correct.
Oh, we got
it.
one.
So that
All right.
counts. Which
one?
one did we get?
Jason White.
Jason
Yeah, there we
White.
go.
Okay, so Eric Crouch was drafted. Okay. Does it give you the name of the school the other player that we
Yes.
didn't name? Can you give us that school?
Florida State University.
Well, Peter Warwick was drafted. Chris Winkie was drafted.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Florida State. Does it say the year?
Yes, 1993.
Oh, see, that's a little bit before I would have been paying attention to college football. Not honestly, the Penn State in '94 was the first year I really, really remember watching college football. There are a few Penn State games sprinkled in that I went to, but
Eric Crouch was picked in the 3rd round
was he really?
by the Rams.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So early '90s Florida State quarterback.
Yes,
So
they were both quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's got to be someone watching that.
Did Florida State have somebody that went on to play professional basketball?
Andre Ward.
instead?
Andre Ward. Didn't he play at Florida State?
I
And
thought
wouldn't have
so.
been early '90s,
Could have been.
but he might have been drafted.
Yeah, I see. Let's go.
We already got it, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
go with Andre Ward.
the last name is right.
It's not Andre.
Did I mess that up? Is it
What is it?
Charlie Ward.
Charlie
Yeah,
Ward?
Yeah, he played for the Knicks.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's who it was. Okay,
But
that's not too bad.
so I knew he did it. I didn't know. I didn't remember that he won the Heisman. You know what I mean? Like I didn't remember he won the
Yeah,
Heisman.
he was a dual sport. Okay, I feel like that counts as a win for us. That's
Yeah,
that's
you got
good.
one of them.
We got one. We were dancing around it, and the other one was a little bit before we would have really been paying attention. So I'm not upset with that one.
And one of them we nailed.
Yeah, we knew it right away.
Nailed.
We were both like Eric Crouch and Jason White. So okay, great. All right, what's the next one, Nat?
In 2021, Peyton Manning became the 4th quarterback drafted first overall to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Who were the first 3 quarterbacks to achieve this honor? Again, I will take one.
I know one.
Number 1 overall to make it to the Hall of Fame.
John Elway.
Yeah. For not the Indianapolis Colts.
John Elway's one of them. You could
Oh,
say
yeah,
yes.
yes. I was like, is that an answer?
Final answer, yes.
Right.
So
So we
need
got one.
Two more.
We got
We
one.
need 2 more. So Manning and Elway. Are they all quarterbacks? I guess that's my first thought. Was that in the
I
question?
think she said
Did she say
quarterbacks.
quarterbacks?
It's
Yeah,
quarterback.
Okay.
I said quarterbacks.
So they're all quarterbacks. So just see, that's the problem. I don't know when a lot of the
I
quarterbacks were drafted.
And you might, and one of these, you weren't born, and the other one, you definitely weren't paying attention to football.
Okay, so these are both older. Well,
So who went first in the '83 class? I don't know the
Elway.
quarterback. Oh yeah.
so
I was thinking through all the other guys there.
Natalie, can you give? Do they don't say the years they? Oh yeah,
They
do they
do
say the
say-
years they were drafted?
I'm pretty sure the years they have.
Well, what does
here-
it say next to John Elway?
It says in 1983 by
Yeah.
the Denver
Okay.
Broncos.
Yeah.
So then,
Do you want me to
can you give me the years?
1970 and 1989.
Ooh,
Well,
89.
1989 is Troy Aikman, isn't it?
Was
didn't
he
the
drafted
Cowboys-
first overall?
Out of UCLA? Because I thought they had the first pick like 2 years in a row when they got Aikman
You know
and
what? I think they did.
and
I think they
okay.
did.
So our next answer is Troy Aikman out of UCLA in 1989.
2 for 2.
All right, you say 1970? Oh man,
I have heard of this person.
you have
before.
heard of this person.
Yes, I'm
I
pretty
don't-
sure I have.
I don't want the team hint. Yeah, I want us to be able to get this without.
I recognize the name.
Okay.
So to be fair,
based off of that,
before we asked for the years, my next thought was Troy Aikman.
okay.
So Aikman, Elway, Manning. So who's the fourth one? He
So-
was drafted in 1970.
Terry Bradshaw was not drafted number 1 overall, was
I
he?
don't think so, but I don't know.
Right, I don't know.
But that would be
I'm
the
just trying
right
to think-
time frame
right,
because
right,
they were
right.
really good from the mid to late 70s, 4
Right.
out of 6 years. That's one that I would
right.
consider.
So he's a quarterback. Let's think about quarterbacks from the 70s that made the Hall of Fame. That's not helping me much, though.
Yeah, well, that's because I can start naming names, but I don't even know if I could tell you the years some of them played.
Right.
Like they're just names that I know off the
Right.
top of my
So
head.
if it comes down to
Dan
it,
Fouts
I might
and
have
Len
to pick
Dawson
him
and
because she also said it's someone that she thinks she's like heard of.
so then
which
Terry
made me
Bradshaw
think
would
Terry
check
Bradshaw
yeah,
would check that
because
box.
it's a Steelers quarterback.
Steelers quarterback.
He's a
on TV every
commentator. Yeah,
Sunday.
you see him all the time. I feel like that's probably our best.
That's my best guess.
left.
I'm not confident in
Yeah.
it, but that's my guess.
Like Ken Stabler. Like I'm just trying to like think of like, obviously this is too
Right,
far in the
right.
past, but Fran Tarkenton and Johnny
Right,
Unitas
right,
and
exactly. They would all predate that.
those. Right. Go ahead. Let's just lock
we'll do
in.
Terry Bradshaw.
3 for 3.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
nice.
Yes.
That was a good one. What do you have to say about that, Dad?
He's probably typing a paragraph
So,
text right
Once
now.
you first finished that question, I was like, we're not getting this. But gotta work our way through. The year definitely helped with Bradshaw because I also didn't.
I would have
wasn't
never
sh-
guessed that he was
I
drafted
wasn't
number
sure
one,
that he
though.
was the number 1 pick. So
It's very
but it's
non-Steelers like.
fairly certain that Aikman was, and I knew Elway was. So, all right, what's the next one?
Who was the last player drafted by 2 different NFL teams?
Oh God, I'm never gonna get this. So who's Mr. Irrelevant for 2 different teams?
No. I think who was the last player to ever be drafted by 2 different teams?
Oh.
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, right.
So like teams
Just
that
different
don't.
emphasis.
So different. So teams that don't exist anymore.
Or just like drafted by one team and then nope, drafted by a different team.
I don't even know where to begin with this one. Oh, okay. I see what you're
So
saying.
in
So
my-
like,
in my
could this would be
mind-
like AFL, NFL?
Oh, see, I was taking it as, like Maurice Claret entered, but he never got drafted. They were ruled ineligible before the draft.
Right.
Like,
So I'm thinking.
but that was my line of thinking. Got drafted. Oh no, it didn't work out. Got drafted. For someone else.
Is there a year
When
on
you
this?
phrase it like that, I'm thinking like Reggie White or like Warren Moon or something like that.
1991 and 1992 were the 2 years.
Well, okay,
in the
so-
answer.
Oh,
So it's a player who also plays baseball. Is it
Deion Sanders?
It could be. Is that the right time frame? It could be
I
Deion.
feel like he might have been playing already.
Yeah, I
in
think
the late 80s.
he might have been late 80s. So, when's like Bo Jackson come into play?
See, I feel like he was more. I feel like he was back in
He
there.
was-
But didn't Bo Jackson have the weird thing where like he wasn't gonna play football because he didn't like the team he got picked by? I'm trying to rewind my 30 for 30 knowledge here.
Yeah, and what always messes up is the time frame, the years, because I feel like Deion was drafted in the late 80s, like
Right.
89 or something like that.
Right.
Because he was a few years because he retired in early 2000s, so that would
Right.
be
That's a long time for a DB.
right. That's what I'm thinking.
He's a
Like
great
he
DB,
was drafted in the
but-
late 80s and retired in like 03 or whatever. and he was a free. He played out his first contract with the Falcons, and then went to the Niners, and then the Cowboys.
Right.
So I don't think it's Dion. I don't think the time frame works out. I was thinking maybe Bo Jackson. I don't know who else it would be. Those are the only two names that really jump out to me. If it's what we're thinking,
Right,
I mean, it could be something different,
Right. Could be a different scenario.
altogether. But I guess I would go with Bo.
Okay.
Incorrect.
Did we say
What
the
about-
name?
No, I did
Okay,
not
so
hear that.
maybe we're not understanding the question then correctly.
Who was the last player drafted by
See.
2 different NFL teams?
Right. See, and like I said, I would have gone with like something like Reggie White, but that would have been before that, wouldn't it? Like I'm thinking where he got drafted and then he went and played in the.
Do you
other
need
league.
one of the teams yet?
I don't know that'll help. You can give us one of the teams, but
One of the teams was the Eagles.
like Reggie White is known for the free agency stuff, not the
Right.
draft stuff.
Right, but I know he didn't come to the NFL right away. He went to whatever that other league was.
I mean, I don't have any other guesses, so we can
right,
go
well, I'm gonna say
with.
Reggie White.
Okay.
Incorrect.
What's the
Yeah.
other team?
The other team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't know.
Early '90s Eagles Buccaneers.
I'm not looking at. I just
Is it a quarterback?
Yes.
I have no
Don't know.
idea.
Bubby Brister.
No.
Who is it?
University of Miami quarterback Craig Erickson was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in 1991 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1992.
It doesn't tell you why though.
No.
Okay.
Craig Erickson is his name though.
Yeah.
I've heard the name, but
Craig Erickson. Or
I
however
wonder
you
what
pronounce
the
it.
circumstances around that, like how that works out. Because if you turn pro, you can't go back into college, especially in the early '90s. So if he was draft eligible, did he just refuse to sign with them?
All right. Okay, so it says the Eagles drafted Erickson 131st overall in the 5th round. Erickson sustained a knee injury while practicing for the Hula Bowl in January of '91. Eagles lost the rights to Erickson because they couldn't agree on a contract.
Okay.
And then the Buccaneers drafted Erickson 86th overall in the 4th round. Erickson started in 1993 for the Bucs in the first half of 1994. They traded him to the Colts in '95.
That's where I know him from, playing for the Colts. Okay.
Oh, he led the '89 Miami Hurricanes to the national championship
Okay.
and won the Johnny Unitas Award.
Just a little before we would have been paying attention to college football.
Right.
I remember the name, and I remember him playing on the Colts.
Well, and it's the quarterbacks weren't the star of those Miami teams,
Right.
You know, like
Don't tell Vinny.
he was the star in my eyes.
That's right. 5 interceptions.
Heck yeah.
All right. So that was a tough one. Didn't know that. So go ahead. What's the next one?
Who was the last running back taken first overall in an NFL draft? And it's multiple choice. It's A through D.
Okay.
So A.
Well, hold on. Do you think we can get this without the multiple choice?
Do you
said
want
the
multiple
last
choice?
running back taken first overall.
Who was the last running back taken first overall in an NFL draft?
Okay.
And it's multiple choice. If you want the multiple choice.
Do you think it's 80s, 90s? I'm trying to think of,
I don't know.
because even like Adrian Peterson wasn't the first overall pick.
Right. Like you.
Was it Marshall Faulk?
That was my first guess, but I don't know when he was drafted.
That would have been.
See, like he's like I remember his career, like almost the entirety of his career
I would say
I
that
don't
would be
remember.
mid 90s, early to mid 90s.
by the Colts, right? He was
By the
drafted
Colts, right?
and
Because
then
he was
went to the
traded.
Rams.
He was traded by the Colts a few years, like right before Peyton Manning got there, because Marshall Faulk was on the greatest show on turf with winning the Super Bowl with the Rams,
Yeah.
and then the Colts drafted Edgerrin James out of the U.
That also like that's one of those where it worked. Like
Right.
it worked for both. Like,
It wasn't. I don't think that was back to back.
No. But like they ended up getting their Hall of Fame quarterback and another franchise running back.
They they got Harrison, Manning, Wayne, Dallas Clark, and Edgerrin James, like all with like a 5-year period or something like that. We're gonna say Marshall Falk.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Was he
one of the options?
He was one of the options.
Okay. Give us the other ones.
Do you want the multiple choice?
Yeah, give it the multiple choice.
A. Eddie George. B. Lawrence Phillips. C. Marshall Falk. And D. Kijana Carter.
It wasn't Kijana.
wasn't
Kijana
Kijana.
was second, right?
Right.
Was he second? To the Bengals. Did he go? If he went number 1 overall, and we're not going to get this. It's going to be really humiliating. I didn't think he went number 1. Oh God, now I don't remember. Now I'm second guessing myself.
I feel like he might have gone number 1
in 1995. And Marshall Falk would have been before that, probably.
Right. What was the other choice?
Lawrence Phillips wasn't. He didn't go 1 overall, did he?
And the other one was Eddie George.
Eddie George.
Eddie George to the
Man, they
Tit-
bumped
Oilers.
them. They're
Titans.
Grouped in there.
They're all in the mid-90s, right?
Right.
Well, Lawrence Phillips, I don't think got drafted 1 overall because wasn't there legal issues? Wasn't he? Didn't he have off the field?
See, I don't know
stuff?
if that came out before or after his stuff.
And well, he was with the Rams, wasn't he? Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you can choose one of the choices.
It's not. I would not go with Lawrence Phillips.
Okay.
I guess I wanted to be Eddie George, not even though he's an Ohio State guy, because I feel like if we whiff on the Kijana, for some reason I was thinking Kijana went 2.
See, was it? Are you confusing that with LeVar and Courtney Brown going 2-3? Did they go 2-3?
Courtney went 1. They went 1-2.
Okay, they went 1-2.
I'm pretty sure they went 1-2.
Right.
In 2000. When Courtney Brown went 1st overall to the Browns and LeVar Arrington went 2nd overall to the Washington Redskins in the 2000 draft.
Yeah.
Kijana Carter was 1995. That was the same year that Kerry Collins went 5. Was it the 5 to the Panthers that year?
Something like
5th
that.
overall, and then Kyle Brady went like 10th to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Let's go Eddie George and just be wrong.
Incorrect.
Oh my gosh, was it Kijana?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, now I feel even worse. That's worse than the Jonathan Taylor one. That is way worse.
Yeah.
I had it in my head that Kijana was because I even
Pop up. Feel free to make fun of them.
He wouldn't have known that anyways. Because when she finished the question before she even said there was multiple choice, I was like, man, Kijana went 2nd. Oh, wow, I don't remember that. That's like the first draft that I paid attention to because of how much I enjoyed watching the '94 Penn State team.
Right.
And I was thinking this whole time that Kijana was 2nd overall to the Bengals. He never got to do anything because he blew out his knee.
Right.
I think twice or both of them or something.
Right.
Oh, that's rough. That was rough, Natalie. That one I don't appreciate.
You struck out looking on that one.
That was bad. That was bad. All right, let's try to get a redemption here. Man, for every step forward we take 2 steps back.
What was the only NFL team to allow over 500 points in a 14-game season?
So 14-game season tells us it's
14-game
a while ago.
season says it's in the 70s or maybe early 80s.
Yeah.
Because I know that the terrible Tampa Bay Bucks team only played 14 games, and that was like 78 or something like that. Maybe it is them. Maybe it's the 1978 Tampa Bay Buccaneers who went 0-14. They actually lost their first 26 games.
Yeah.
They were an expansion team. I would say that they would be a prime candidate for the answer to that question.
I agree.
All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No.
Was it the Saints when they were so bad?
They were really bad.
I can give you a year if you need it.
I don't know. I mean, sure. I don't know that it's going to help us.
1966.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, it helps us because I'm not guessing the
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers now.
Right.
A terrible team from the 60s. Oh my gosh.
That would have been.
And that would have been that
That predates.
is that pre-merger too? Cuz I think was the merger 66 or 67. I thought it was 67. But with the NFL overlapping into January, that always makes things so tough.
See, I'm like the Browns, but that's back when the Browns weren't terrible.
Right. Man.
It could be the Eagles. The Eagles are. Like, I
That's,
just thinking like
that's only 6 years removed from their NFL championship.
that's true. I don't know. I don't know. This
Is this a team that still exists today? They didn't.
Yes.
Okay, They didn't. Relocation and name change and stuff like that.
No, it is the same.
Oh, man. Is it an NFL team?
Yes. The question what was the only NFL team to allow
So
over 500 points in a
Right.
14-game
right,
season?
but that my question about that is because if that is the year before the merger, that takes away the AFC teams.
Right.
I guess the Saints, I feel like would be probably a good
Yeah, when
one.
did the Saints start?
Yeah, that's the type of stuff. I don't know, the 60s,
Right.
like our dads were like 12, like 10.
Right.
Like,
So I feel like the timing could work for that to be the Saints, but I feel like it might be before them.
right.
That would probably be my guess, though. My next
Yeah.
guess.
Well, New Orleans Saints.
Incorrect.
Okay. Who,
No.
who is it?
The 1966 New York Giants.
Wouldn't have guessed
I
that.
wouldn't have guessed it. Okay. All right.
So
that
much
was,
for your redemption.
Yeah, we didn't get redeemed on that one. That was a tough one.
What are the only two teams to average less than 10 points scored per game for an entire season?
Oh my gosh.
And I will accept
One.
one of the teams.
That's it. We don't get any other hints. Oh
I can give you
gosh.
the years.
Well, I feel like it has to be old.
I'm going right back to the Bucks and Saints.
Right. Bucks, Saints, and apparently the 66 Giants weren't very good. Can you give us the years?
So one of the teams was 1991 and the other one was 1992.
Wow.
91 and 92 scoring less than 10 points a game. So that was a 16-game season, I believe. So you're telling me these teams scored less than 160 points in a season.
By
That's
the way,
just crazy.
The 2025 Super Bowl champion Eagles almost scored that in their playoff run.
So one of my first thoughts is that could be the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
I initially wanted to be like that could be the Detroit Lions, but the Lions weren't terrible in the early 90s, were they? Because that was the beginning. That was
That
like
would've been-
prime Barry
yeah.
Sanders. So who was? That's literally right before.
See, but
So it's
isn't
not
that-
it's not the Bills and it's not the Dolphins.
Isn't that close to when the Browns were making the playoffs though and losing in heartbreak to like John Elway and stuff?
Was it? I thought that was more in the 80s.
I thought it was late 80s. You're right. You're right.
It's not the 49ers. That would have been like Montana,
Right.
and probably was still Montana. I forget when he moved to the Chiefs, but so I don't think it was the 49ers. It's not the Dolphins and the Bills.
It's just a couple years too late for the Cowboys who got the number one picks. You know, like,
My dad says, "What about the Bengals?" I know the Bengals were good in the mid to late 80s, but could they have gotten bad
Eagles
in the early
had
90s?
Cunningham at that time, right? So I don't think they were that.
I
bad.
don't think it was Eagles because that would have been around. I know this is defensively, but like
Right.
Reggie White and
Right,
Jerome
right.
Brown.
Like I don't think they were that bad.
Honestly, one of them that I think about is the New England Patriots.
Could be.
So I feel like Patriots and Bengals are at the top. I don't know much about Chargers, maybe. Like I know they had that 1 year renaissance in the mid '90s when they went to the Super Bowl, but I feel like you don't hear much about them in the early '90s. Maybe
Yeah,
it
I
could
don't
be.
know.
It's certainly not the Redskins.
No.
I said it's not the Bills. It's not the Dolphins. I get off the top of my head, I would probably favor Patriots, Bengals, Browns, Chargers would be like the 4 that I would focus on. Are those all AFC teams? Did I just said? Well, I mean the Cowboys were really bad, but they're in the late '80s when they got Aikman. They got Smith, Aikman, and Irvin in a few,
Right,
but
right.
like then they got good pretty quickly. So I don't think
Right.
I think that's just a few years removed from when it could have been.
Right, exactly. If you would have told me it was like
88,
89,
yeah.
like back to back, but
91 and 92. Well, I think just I'm
it
gonna
couldn't have been 92 because didn't the Cowboys win in 93?
92, 93, 95. I think.
Right, so no,
Yeah.
it can't be that.
Right.
They didn't go from that bad to that good in like a year. Like
Right.
there was that
So
gradual
it was,
build up.
they would have been like 87, 88, 89 would have been like the time when Dallas was not very good.
What about? No, like I'm thinking like the flip when the Vikings traded for Herschel Walker. You know, like just, but I don't think they were that bad.
All right. I think we should go with the Patriots because I
Okay.
don't think they were very good. I could be
You just
completely
want to take
wrong.
a dig at. Uncle
I
Rich,
do
that's
want to
fine.
get one little stick in there to Uncle Rich. So
Okay.
I'll let you pick the next one. I'm gonna
Okay.
pick the New England
Okay.
Patriots as one of the 2 teams. Natalie?
No.
Crap. Okay. Which of the other ones? Bengals.
I'm going Bengals.
Okay. Justin says Bengals.
Incorrect.
Oh man, did we say them in this?
You did not see either of these teams.
Oh man. Okay. I thought I said it could
What
be
about the Seahawks?
Seahawks.
AFC Seahawks, by the way.
Right. I guess it's possible.
Or Packers. Packers
Is this
were
pre-Favre?
Yeah, they were horrendous for a while.
Okay, it could be Packers. I guess it could be Bucks too, right?
Could it be Bears too? Because Bears had prolific defense, and then
Well, they won the Super
they
Bowl
went
in
off,
what,
and
85?
They haven't had a good quarterback since McMahon.
Okay. Well, why don't I'm gonna say 2 right away. We're gonna say Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Both wrong.
Green Bay Packers.
Wrong.
Oh
We're
my
just naming
gosh.
teams.
Okay, now I'm
Seattle
done.
Seahawks.
Correct.
Okay, so it was the
8.8 PPG.
Okay, was that 91 or 92?
That was the 92.
So the 92 Seattle Seahawks only scored 8 points per game. Okay, who's the other team in 91?
Yeah.
The 1991 Indianapolis Colts.
With Craig Erickson?
8.9 PPG.
That's really bad. See, and those teams didn't even jump. Like you did mention the Seahawks after we had been rattling through there for a
Right.
while. Colts didn't jump out to me.
But see, especially at that time, like,
Well, so would that have been Jim Harbaugh with the Colts?
I feel like he would have been like right after.
Did you say
that.
1991, Nat?
1991, yes.
You know, that just reminds me of the crazy stat that Jim Harbaugh has more career rushing yards than Bo Jackson.
Oh, let's see.
The 1991 Indianapolis Colts.
See,
Jeff
'cause-
George.
Okay, because I was going to say he was the quarterback in '96. What year did the Steelers go to the Super Bowl? In there.
96.
Okay, so he was the quarterback that year because the Steelers beat the Colts in the AFC Championship game. I think on that incomplete Hail Mary, I believe.
With Neil O'Donnell.
Yeah, and then Neil O'Donnell gave some gifts to the Cowboys. If ever you wanted to make an argument for
Jim
throwing
Harbaugh
games,
and Kelly Holcomb
my uncle was at that game.
with Marshall Faulk. So that 91 Indianapolis Colts team had Eric Dickerson on as the running back. Okay, so that was rough. That was a rough
That's
one.
what made Eric Dickerson.
I'm
so bitter.
surprised you didn't even say the Colts.
I know.
Through all that racking your
When
brain.
in doubt.
Yeah, apparently we need to default to the Indianapolis Colts. Okay.
Yeah, that's like the third
All right.
question with them as an answer.
That one took forever, so this has got to be the last question now.
All right,
Okay.
we can do. Let me see. Let's do an. Okay. Let's see. I want to give you a hard one for the last one.
See, this is one of those things where the other day we were playing a Philadelphia sports trivia game, and granted we were doing like the lower level questions, but like, I know. And people are like, how do you know that? Right? And I'm just like, look, I really don't know that much stuff. And then I play this, and I'm like, see? Like, I don't.
Well, so there's parts of this that make me feel like, yeah, we know what we're talking about because like we're rattling off stuff to try to figure out the answer, but we don't actually know the answer.
Right.
We're dancing around with so much other stuff that people are like, why do you know that?
Yes.
But we don't know the answer to the question.
All right, ready?
No.
Name the first 2 players to ever play in and win back-to-back Super Bowl titles with different teams.
Oh.
I wanted to do a hard one for the last.
My gosh. So is one of them...
Back to back, different teams.
Well, who was the guy? Well, okay, so there was a bunch of Cowboys to Niners or Niners to Cowboys. Like
Yeah.
Deion Sanders
Deion
did it,
Sanders.
but is he one of the first 2 to do it?
I doubt. Well, so here's the other piece.
And this time, I
Wait.
want both the answers, not at the same time, but I
feel
want
like
you to
they're-
get both.
I feel like they're all going to be more recent. I say recent in the last 30 years.
Because of free agency?
Because of free agency.
Right.
Because back in the day, they never would have let a guy go to a good team. They would let a guy go to a bad team. But they were never going to let a guy go to a good team.
So
I say that. Watch it be 2 guys from like the 60s. But
I guess you could just luck into something though too. Like if your contract ran out.
exactly.
And,
But I think it's got to be like 90s on. It would be my term in terms of guessing.
so my first thought was Ken Norton.
Okay.
'Cause
My
he
first
went-
thought was Deion Sanders, but
Well,
I don't know
but
that those are back-to-back years.
Ken Norton went from Dallas to San Francisco.
Yeah.
From when they won, because I think he was a member of the Cowboys when they won it back to back, then went to San Francisco and won it
won
there.
it
So
in-
he had
in
won 3 in a
between,
row.
right.
So he would have been won back to back.
Like the reserve lineman for the Chiefs that went to the Eagles.
Yeah. So Ken Norton Jr. is my first thought with the Cowboys, then the 49ers. Then my next thought would be Deion Sanders, who went from the Niners to the Cowboys.
Right. That's
Those are the only 2 that I
which
can really...
would make a great question too, because it would involve the same 2 teams that guys go in different directions.
Yeah.
So I think that's who I'm going with because I don't know.
I wouldn't know
don't
where to begin.
other people to begin with.
Alright.
Right.
Ken Norton Jr. and Deion Sanders.
Both correct.
Yes. Nailed it. That one feels good. That's a good one to end on.
That is good.
Yes, after that abomination of a question. So,
Man, you know, like no mercy. Just
no,
a
after you didn't get that, I was like,
calling out a shameful performance on it. The one that really is humbling and
Yeah.
really disappointing is the Kajana Carter one because
that one was funny.
But see, now I'll never forget that he was drafted first overall, and at one time I knew that, but
And was he the last one? Is that what the question was? He was the last one?
last running back taken first overall. Yeah.
I saw a thing that was like Ashton Genty a couple like months ago was projected at like before the season was projected the first running back off the board, but in like pick 35 or 36 something like that, and now he's projected possibly top 10. And they're like,
I was gonna say probably
like,
around 12.
He had a good
so.
season, but they're like, also, is this a factor of like running backs being key to some of the
good
NFL
good
success?
NFL teams.
He's not going number 1, but like
no, I don't think he's going top 10 either. But I mean, honestly, I said 12. I think that's where the Cowboys pick. I think the Cowboys pick back to back at 12 and 13, I believe. So we'll see what happens there. Dolphins not taking Ashton Genty. They need offensive line help in the worst
sounds
way.
like a dare.
Also need defensive front 7 help. So we'll see what happens. Justin and I will talk NFL draft more in about a month or so. But we will be back next week, same time, 6:30 Eastern. which will be March 9th. Don't get caught up with the daylight savings time adjustment coming
oh,
up
gosh.
next Sunday.
Oh, that's going to mess up my sleep schedule.
Spring forward, baby. It's great.
Skip an hour
It's
of
the
sleep.
best feeling because the days feel longer then, but in terms of sleep, it's not the best because you're losing. Now we no longer have little babies to mess up things even more for us. They're old enough to
Yeah.
stay in their rooms when they need to and sleep longer.
I want to sleep longer. I want to sleep in, but I can't because I have to get up at 6:45 every day.
Oh no, not 6:45. So bad for you.
Because I used to have to wake up at like 7:30. That's so much later.
All right. Well, Natalie, thanks for joining us again for trivia.
Yep,
It's
that was fun.
Very
yeah.
humbling experience for you to.
It was funny to watch. It was
I
definitely.
think we went sub 500 this time in terms
Yeah.
of getting it right on the first try. We got a few on the second try and a few we whiffed on. I thought that Jonathan Taylor first question was going to be bad, but the Kajana Carter one is even worse. That one is very disappointing. But
It was very funny to watch you guys struggle.
thank you. So we are back. Like I said, we're back next week. I can't recall off the top of my head what the topic was for next week. Let me pull it up. I do have them listed online. Okay. So it's actually going to be similar to what we're doing now. I have the topic as next week, Justin, viral social media sports questions and rankings. So things that you see
Yes.
on like Instagram
Well,
and TikTok.
And I think it might be today was a memory of when we were doing like a best of quarterbacks list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had actually put on here, and I don't know if I did, for the end of March, actually the day I get home from Girl Scout camp with Natalie, March 30th, I have all-time favorite Phillies players for us to answer. But next week, viral social media sports questions and rankings. So if anyone out there is listening, watching, and you saw one of these on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok that you want us to answer, send it our way. Otherwise, I'll probably be downloading some videos from Instagram and Reels and TikTok and play clips of them and then have Justin and I try to answer. There's this one called Nerd Sesh. There's a guy, his name is Logan, who is essentially what I used to be able to do in like the late 90s, early 2000s. He does now, and they'll be like, name every quarterback that has started the game for the Cleveland Browns since 2000. And you have to, and he goes through and answer. Now, he gets a lot of them by himself, and he pulls names that I'm like, how did he remember that? But the guy, the host, does occasionally give him years or number of starts, or even like if he's really stumped, the college he went to. But he pulls out some of these names that I cannot believe. But that's one that I'll definitely go look back. Is Nerd Sesh is a good one on TikTok, and there's another one that they use a lot of picture-based things, and I thought that one is something that you and I could do really well on, where it'll be like a uniform, a logo, and it could be like obscure colleges.
Right,
It'll be
right.
like, what's the name of that team?
Right.
So
I was
That-
gonna say
The kids at school tried that one time. They were like, do you know where, like the towns?
oh yeah,
where schools
I wouldn't
are?
be good with that.
And so the only reason I am is from like college football, and it used to be like on the score bug or thing, not the score bug, but like the intro bug,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, like I don't know. And
Well-
I don't know all of them, but like I know in their eyes a lot of them, and they were like, "How do you know this?" I'm like, I don't know. It's just something I know.
My favorite one was one of the obscure like D2 D3 logos that they were pulling out, and they were like, name this school, and it was like Millersville or Westchester. And I was
yeah.
like, I know
Well,
what that is.
that reminded me when I saw that thing this week of like Millersville beat someone, and if you take it 12
you can
steps,
go
they
all
beat
the way
Ohio
to beat
State
Ohio
this
State,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So
I was gonna say that you should also do one of like those blind rankings where
Oh,
like
gosh.
you can't change your answer
Right,
and they,
like rate these quarterbacks. These like
yeah,
rank
and like
these
you
quarterbacks.
can't change your answer because I feel like that would also be very fun.
we
to
could.
watch.
Oh yeah, we could
That
definitely.
that
do
would
that,
be
yeah.
cool.
We could definitely do that.
And I will definitely be watching.
Jalen Hurts won.
The blind rank. We could definitely do some blind rankings for sure. So, all right. Well, thanks again for Natalie to joining us and
Yep,
really
Thank you.
really smushing us with some of that trivia. We'll bring that back again soon. I feel like I'm forgetting someone to mention a birthday shout out or something, but we will be back next week. So if I forgot you, I'm sorry. We'll make up for it next week. But that's it for now. So for Natalie, Justin, I'm Joe Mays. This was episode 413 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. We will be back again in 1 week's time. hope you catch us again then. We'll see you later.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.